Just want to give you a quick peek at a disconnector. I don't know if you can see it, but it's been like dipped out. It's been rounded off. This whole pocket, this head of this finger has been rounded off. The back side's been polished. You can see it's like just the surface faces on the radius on the top. This has been reprofiled around the lip, and then you can see it drops down a little bit. So the contact surface has definitely been manipulated. Let's go ahead and take this gun down here. This is a Glock 17. Actually, I usually use a piece of tape, a roll-up tape, but if you're careful and you kind of wiggle the middle, you can get it to pop out. Because it hangs. There it is. There's a little divot in the pin, and it hangs on the slide catch. This centerpiece has to come out now. I like to use this tool to get this out. Alright, so that's out. We'll take this piece out. And now we need to pull this pin out here in the back. I don't want to round that off, so let me get a skinnier punch in there. Alright, so that's the rear pin. This whole trigger bar comes out, and you can see that I've polished it. It's pretty bright, and but I haven't done the disconnector yet. So we're going to take a look at a unpolished disconnector, and you can see that it's not flush. It kind of angles out. What I mean is that bar doesn't lay flat against it, kind of angles out a little bit. Use this real quick. Basically, you go to the base of it and you just pry it out. Alright, so this is a Glock 17 Gen 5 standard disconnector, and you can see that basically there's a little dot on there. That dot's gone. I don't know if you can see it or not. Let me see if we can get my hand underneath there. There's a little dot right there, and these dots determine some things like weights and which connector you're using. And you can see it's kind of like a Y shape. The finger that sticks out, you know, that way, it's kind of like Y-shaped. And you can see that it's radiused. And without like a microscope, it's going to be hard to tell exactly what has been done. But you can see this connector is the stock one, and this is the connector that's been polished and reworked. Let's get them together up there. Point out a few things that I noticed. There's a little shelf here in the corner. So this distance is not the same as this distance. All the faces have been polished, and it looks like that this is during the polishing process this mouse house tab has, it's a little bit more narrow. Let's turn it over. And I'll inspect these really close. There's like a pad. You can see the little line there and there. This pad's raised up and it's all been polished nice. None of this has been really polished down in here because it doesn't have any effect on contact surfaces. So we're going to trade these out and we're going to see how it feels with the new hand-worked standard versus the stock untouched Glock. Okay, so the way this is going to work, it's going to just get pushed down in there. There's a slot right there. And again, we're not going to like push it flat in there. We're going to leave it, you know, angled out just a hair. Because that's the way it comes from the factory. This creates tension on it. Alright, so you can see. And then this locks in underneath there like so. And then this bird mouth rides into this area here. So this is a polished to a polished surface. And then the bar's been polished in the safety release plunger. Shark fin has been polished. This whole thing's been polished. And then the next step for this particular modification is we're going to put in 2 set screws. We're going to put a set screw in here, actually here, and we're going to put a set screw in back here. And here's the set screws and the Allen wrenches, so we need to get a drill bit and some taps. And what that will do is basically it limits the travel of this trigger, so it doesn't have the full amount of travel. With the set screw in it, you can adjust the travel to be like this much or that much, you know. You can go full range or you can just limit the range, because basically we're going to make a stop, an adjustable stop. And then here, from this slide back and forth, front to back travel, the other set screw goes back there, and it is adjustment so we can control exact position of the travel when things let go and things like that. So it gives us a full ability to fine tune the whole trigger. Okay. And again, the weight has not been reduced. This is not a like a 3.5 pound ghost trigger. This is a Glock OEM trigger. It's a standard, I'm sorry, disconnector. It's a standard disconnector. Just been polished. And Johnny Glocks is actually the one that did this particular polish job. And I wanted to see what his standard looked like. I'm going to buy his 3.5 pound and see. But until you can feel it, you won't be able to tell. So we're going to put this thing back together. There's a lip, which is different on the Gen 17 on this cruciform. It has got to engage into that lip. And with this lighting situation, I can't see. There we go. It's in there now. It's locked in. There's a lip right here that engages the top of the cruciform. So now we can put the trigger pack in. All right. We'll take a little pin. Now, I always like to take it apart and put it together the same way, so it's not always, you know, going to get a wallowed side or not. I just want to tap through and go back in the same way that it came out. I know I shouldn't have grabbed it with the pliers, but that's in there, grab with the pliers, so we're gonna push that back in there. All right, so it's flush now. All right. So we'll get our so Gen 5 is an ambi release. So you can bring the slide forward, the slide catch. And you'll see when it drops in, because if you look straight through the hole, it will line up there. And again, I'm going to put the pins in the same way that they came out. And if you wiggle this, you'll get it to seat in. Tap it a little bit. All right. Oh, a little bit too far. So I'm gonna just tap it back just a hair. Alrighty. I can feel it. It's pretty smooth, actually. But with this lighting, the way everything's in backlighting to me, so I can't see. All right. No mag in the gun. No round in the gun. Let's feel it. It feels pretty nice. That's the reset. So I don't have a scale to check the weight. You know, it's not night and day difference. You know, it's a standard connector, but it was done by somebody that's considered to be top of the food chain when it comes to working on Glock triggers, Johnny Glocks. And so I wanted to, you know, check it out, see what his work was all about, and see exactly what he did as compared to the stock one. You know, you can buy one of those ghost connectors or wolves or something like that for around, I don't know, $30 or something like that. And I'd rather have an OEM part in my gun if I can and get the performance that I'm looking for by customizing it. Now, I do want to try the 3.5 pound disconnector, or I should say the connector, and see how that works. But so far, I really like this pistol. You know, we're just messing around, playing with it, and you know what? The trigger feels really nice. The take-up is really, you know, when it hits the wall, it's really smooth as compared to when it was factory new. And that set screw, basically, what it will do is it will bring the trigger, it won't mess with the safety, but what it will do is it'll give me the ability to adjust where this trigger starts at. So instead of having this much take up till you hit the wall, you know, I'll have like that much take up to the wall, because the set screw is going to pin the trigger back. As a matter of fact, you could hold it right back on the wall if you wanted to, which wouldn't be too smart, but I'm thinking somewhere around 1/4 inch of travel is what I'm looking for, versus the 3/4 of an inch. So we'll bring it back to about there, and that's what one of these set screws is for. And basically the other one is to control where the disconnector actually falls off of the cruciform and fires the safety, or fires the firing pin. There's 3 safeties inside the Glock. You can feel it's got like a little bit of pre-travel and then locks in. Yep, it's pretty nice. All right, we'll see you.